Hi, everybody. How we doing out there? Yeah, no, they made the chairs lower for me, which was really nice. Really nice of them. It's good to see everyone. I'm Katina Wachter. As mentioned, I lead integrated. Can you hear me? Can you hear me good? Okay. I lead integrated brand partnerships at Roku, which is basically a fancy word of saying sponsorships. We're really excited to be here and have Allie. We'll start with you, obviously. Want to hear more about, actually, let's do a quick icebreaker, I guess. The whole day has been about sports. Let's just let's just quickly talk about why you personally have a sports connection and sort of why you think it's important to the world.
Yeah. So, hi everyone. Is that mine on?
We can share.
It says it's on.
We're gonna share.
Hi everyone. That's better. Yeah. Okay. Allie Giordano with Global Sponsorships at MasterCard. So really nice to be here. Thank you to the Brand Innovators team for having me and for Katina being with me today. So why sports for me? I have been sort of, very passionate about sports since I was a young child. I think I probably got the bug from spending, hours and hours and days watching sports with my dad, and then getting into sports at a really young age, from running in softball to basketball, and then really had my heart on lacrosse and had the opportunity to play through high school, and really loved it, and have just really stayed engaged with that. And what I loved about it also, when I went into the workforce, was just the opportunity to, identify something that's so special to people and actually be able to work in such a setting where people are so excited and are so present. And so for that really is what led me into the sports industry. And just quickly for me, it's also stayed very important to me. Both my children play sports. I'm a mom of two. And just seeing how it has actually given them an opportunity to grow, not only as human beings, but from a resilience perspective, being able to deal with defeat, have leadership opportunities, and really learn how to collaborate is such great skills that you can't teach really anywhere else.
Totally agree. We have similar backgrounds in that I grew up in Pittsburgh, so watching sports as a young woman was just part of the community. And I think you're right. The fact that sports basically, I mean, this room is a product of it, obviously, from a career perspective, but the fact that people just light up when they're talking about it, when they're engaging with it, is special in terms of the different passion points that we all get to work with, day to day. Can you tell us a little bit more about your role at MasterCard? And how the brand's thinking about sponsorship holistically? I know earlier you guys got a shout out for how amazing your sponsorship strategy is. So I think this room is really excited to learn a bit more about that.
No, thanks. So sponsorships are at the center of our marketing strategy. Our whole brand essence is around the idea of priceless and delivering experiences to our cardholders and to fans around the world. And our whole marketing strategy really over the past 10 plus years has shifted to really center around experiential marketing, and sponsorships being such a really opportune place to connect that fan to their passions. So for us, it's been a perfect marriage in terms of being able to deliver against the values and the meaning of priceless for us, which is our campaign and now our brand platform for 25 plus years. Trying to think what else and then I guess on your question about my role in this amazing organization we call MasterCard, and I'm very thankful to have my colleagues here today, who are fantastic partners and friends. I have the privilege to look after our global sports and entertainment portfolio. And that includes also looking after our integrated marketing and communications for key passions like rugby around the world, football, soccer for those of you from America in the room, golf, and others. So it's really a privilege, and we don't take it for granted. We are a very large player in the sponsorship world. We have very heavy investments in sport, but we also have been able to build out a broad portfolio into other passion areas, whether it be music, entertainment, arts and culture, And then beyond the sponsorship world, at our organization, I have partners in the integrated marketing team who are building experiences around culinary and dining, around health and wellness and others.
All the good stuff, all the good, fun things to be involved in. I think you mentioned this a bit, but obviously, especially as MasterCard has been leaned into sports sponsorships for so many years. We were chatting before this. I was a media buyer on MasterCard now 12 years ago and helped bring together the MLB Stand Up to Cancer campaign. Obviously, the sports landscape has changed so much. At Roku, we're seeing it's just generally harder for users, streamers, people to get to the sports that they love. Even someone like the NFL on NFL Sunday kickoff, we saw every second, 5 Roku homes searching for the NFL.
Yeah.
We're talking about the largest league out there and people still struggling to find their games that historically had been really easy to find.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about how the industry changing and just fewer habits changing, but obviously there being more sports that people are interested in? You mentioned rugby, right? Like we were so focused on these large leagues only. And then obviously now as there's more access to content, more great content out there, how do you guys think about that? And how have you guys obviously adjusted your strategy a bit to meet those fans where they are?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot of opportunity to access content now, right? I don't even know how much it's tripled and doubled, et cetera, over time. But there's also opportunity to access things like you're saying of content that you wouldn't have been able to access before. I know women's sports has been a big topic today, I hear. But if I think about women's football specifically, UEFA Champions League, other European leagues, Division I Feminine in France, et cetera, and you have the likes of a DAZN who's now opened up for free the ability for fans around the world to be able to access and watch live matches, right? That was not available to the Olympic Lyonnais feminine fan from XYZ country in the past. So there are huge opportunities and growth areas to be able to expand fan bases and to give the fans what they're looking for. But at the same time, it is complicated. And, as a fan, you don't want to have to be searching, on a day to find, college lacrosse. I now know where to find it. But at the same time, I think it just depends. And from a brand perspective, it's opportunistic, but you have to be really thoughtful. You have to pick who your players are going to be that you're going to work with. And I think it's a challenge to be more creative, not lean on, the 30-second traditional advertisement that you might have done in the past, but think about how you're going to stand out, maybe creatively work with their creative team instead of maybe just buying what's offered and create something truly integrated, which is, I think, the role you're playing now.
Yes. I think we're seeing a lot of brands use our sponsorship offerings for the passion piece that you mentioned, but also the brand storytelling piece, right? Not only have consumer passions changed and, but being able to speak to people differently,
Right.
Even speaking to a large audience with one message doesn't work anymore. Or it might, but then how are you engaging them after they see that 15 or 30-second unit? How do you guys think about brand storytelling and, obviously the distribution of that brand storytelling? Is that a big part of the passion strategy, or how do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, when we think about a passion and then our properties and our ambassadors that fit within it, we kind of look at passions as an ecosystem. So even merchants and brands that play in that space, but are, partnership potential opportunities for us. So if I think about how we turn on something like golf or the Open Championship, we're thinking about that, months in advance, during and post, or how we would activate the Arnold Palmer Invitational presented by MasterCard here in the United States. So we're kind of running on every throttle. Right? We're thinking about social content for different age groups. We're working with our social strategy team. Jenny, who's here on my team, leads this, and she's thinking about every type of audience based on the ambassadors that we have, who their followers are, the storyline that we're trying to tell. We also think about how we're going to integrate our products and services with our rights holder partnerships, and how we can then tell a B2B story over time. So we're really sort of running on every angle and thinking of things from a 360 perspective. And then when you get on site, we've already engaged with cardholders. We've already engaged with customers. And then we actually, create another level of experience when they're actually at an event. So whether you're a card holder or a fan, and want to experience what MasterCard can deliver to you from a priceless perspective, we provide all different types of experiences, from walking inside the ropes, to having access to a cardholder club, that can either take you away from the rain if you're in Scotland, or it can take you out of the sun if you're in Orlando. So kind of it runs the gamut, and then we're able to then further engage and let people know what our brand values are.
Right. If you're going to double down in passions, it can't be sort of a flat experience. I think that
Right.
360 experience, because if you're also engaging with an audience that is a community of people that have a specific passion and interest, you better be speaking to them,
All day,
holistically,
yeah, all
right?
day,
All
around,
day,
exactly.
and making sure that their experience. I love that example of getting them out of the rain or the sun, depending on a little weather trigger action on site.
Exactly.
Have you seen in your time at MasterCard, you even selecting partners differently because of the ability to go deeper, whether it's with a league or, an athlete, or even, in some of the other passion points with food and culinary? Like, is there any other partner selection that you sort of, adapted over time?
Yeah, I mean, we feel really strongly about our values, and making sure that our values are aligned with any partner, any athlete, any performer, chef, et cetera, that we work with. So having that alignment, doing that research up front, from looking at social media to what those individuals or properties stand for publicly, where are they on the curve of, leading an innovation?
Yeah.
And where also is there an opportunity for us to come in and help, right?
Yeah.
So it could be, depending on the market or the
Yeah.
region, it could be a number of different factors that would inform. And then also, depending on where our customers are interested in reaching and targeting. So as an example, while we're very strong and visible from a brand perspective, our business really leans in on working through our partners, our issuing banks, as well as merchant partners around the world. So working with them directly and then bringing kind of partnership ideas to them and with them is also an important factor into how we market.
Right. Building it together is
That's right.
is obviously a huge component of this. Obviously, one self-serving Roku question. How do you think about streaming changing, not only sports, but just more broadly, like how you can get more double down in this passion strategy and continue to build that out?
I think, organizations like yourself have the opportunity to stand out and really differentiate and find like-minded partners who are also, again, brand alignment, that are looking to do those same things. So I think it's more content, more partners in the marketplace, I think is, in the end, is a great thing. It gives people choice. And I think it allows more fans to kind of come into the ecosystem.
And I think the other thing we're seeing too is sponsorships are hard, right? It's not the same as buying a 15 or 30-second unit that you sort of just run it and, you create it, obviously, which is challenging, but then you run it. Sponsorships are hard. They take time, they take resources, they take a ton of teams. But I think another benefit that we're starting to see and our partners work with us on is you can measure the impact now, right? Like, yes, that 15 or 30-second spot is still super helpful and useful and probably going to be the bulk of where you spend your money, but being able to have a 15 or 30, have these deeper engagements with fans and communities and sponsorships, and then be able to measure the impact of those two things working together, I think is a huge opportunity for our industry at large, and something that you guys, do really well. Do we have any questions from the crowd?
I have to ask a question, Ali, if you're up there. So
Only if it's not a hard one,
I don't know. You're gonna have to tell me if it's.
because I can always just throw it back at you.
I just thought of it just a second ago, so it's not a lot of fun. But seriously, so you had mentioned it, and then we've all kind of witnessed priceless become, much more of a mantra, much more of a much larger message than its original TV spots. How many years ago now?
25 plus.
25 plus. I was going to say 27, but under the lens of your role in sports marketing, how challenging is it now to identify opportunities that that follow that kind of priceless approach, since it's evolved so much and everything has become kind of a priceless experience for MasterCard?
It's funny. I think we have the easiest job in the organization, at least within integrated marketing, to identify price lists, knowing what fans care about, like property by property and at that level, and then being able to secure those opportunities and deliver them, to me is great. It's exciting. I think it gives us, because of the breadth of passions that we're in and all of the properties within each area, it gives us a lot of opportunity, I think, to test and learn and see what we can even, bring more. And we do surveys, and we speak to our cardholders, speak through our customers to their consumers, so that we can always refine and make things stronger. But it's a challenge, obviously, because, at some point, is there another great experience to deliver? But it's about really giving as many people as possible that opportunity.
It's a great question. 25 years, that is priceless. Yeah, you guys are crushing that. Go for it.
Hi, Allison.
Hey.
Sarah from Nielsen Sports. No, Rick as well. In terms of finding new opportunities, do you do that through your own research? Do you do that through an outside agency? Do you do that through like different data streams? What is a primary source? Given that, again, we're talking passions are so broad.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. We have a pretty structured portfolio and roadmap on where and what we want to do over long periods of time. So it doesn't shift too much, but we are always evaluating new opportunities. Typically, I mentioned a little bit about our customers. So it could be because there might be a customer opportunity that we're working with them on. It could be a new product launch that we're thinking about. So those would be some of the instigations, or maybe a new audience we want to go after, right? And we would work closely with our strategic marketing partner, Octagon, who's our sports marketing agency. And then we would work together on evaluating against our objectives. Octagon specifically work with across sports, also with Roger and Cowan across entertainment, and they also manage a number of our other areas like culinary and things. Yep.
I saw an announcement a couple months back about MasterCard supporting esports athletes. So just wanted to gain a better understanding of your perspective in that space, what the future of it looks like, and the opportunities to kind of see where that kind of continues to grow, especially alongside some of the major sports leagues.
No, thanks for the question. Yeah, we've actually been a partner of Riot for a few years now, sponsoring League of Legends esports. And then we recently announced our additional partnership with Valorant globally in esports. And so it's actually something that are now spending a lot more effort focused on that community, which is very unique to other communities, right? And then our ambassadors, whether it be Shocks, who's a shoutcaster, and some of the others that we've looked at, we talk with her and we talk with our partners to always refine and make sure that what we're delivering to that specific community is authentic and relevant. But it's definitely an area that they're always looking at and seeing, where there might be other opportunities to explore. We just actually launched with G2 a gamer academy specifically focused on inclusion and getting more women and underrepresented groups into esports. And so we're super excited. We have our first class of gamers, and we're giving them full access and the opportunity to learn how to compete and how to, really exceed in that industry.
It's great. We didn't actually ask you a women's sports question. Has that, obviously that is, something that's been talked about a lot today. Is there anything else that you guys are doing in that area, or other, elevating other voices within your sponsorship strategy overall?
Yeah, we're an investor globally in different women's games. But what I'm also excited that our team's been working with UN Women's Unstereotype Alliance. And if there's brands in the room, I strongly recommend you check out the Unstereotype Alliance and apply for membership as a corporation. It's a group of leading brands as well as agencies who are really trying to rid bias from the world. And what a more opportune way to do so than working with big brands and media companies who are spending trillions And if we can remove bias from all of the marketing and advertising out there around the world and that will impact how norms kind of show up in different societies. And so what we've been doing, and we're working with the UN Women's Org and Diageo, is to write a next chapter for women's sports sponsorship and marketing that would then be distributed to all of these brands over time, just to kind of keep it top of mind and make sure that even if you're featuring a female athlete in your advertising, let's make sure you're showing her for who she is in terms of, determined and strong and, not sort of just there, not in situ. So these are some of the things that we're bringing forward and working with them on.
Yeah, we always say that we're not this industry, we're not saving lives, but we can definitely make a difference when
Yeah.
it comes to how we spend our money and how we show up in our represented audiences overall. So that's great. Any other questions that we didn't get to?
Hello.
Hi.
My question is, how is MasterCard differentiating itself from the Amexes, the Visas in your sports and entertainment partnerships when there's, so many choices that a consumer could go to for their credit card?
Yeah, I mean, well, I think the choice sits kind of usually with the issuer, right? So we're technology companies other than Amex, right? And so we're powering the payments ecosystem. But when it comes to differentiation, I think we all have slightly different strategies. I think from our perspective, we focus on a large number of passions, and that's been our play for about 10 years. So we have 10 passions we look at, multiple regions, multiple markets, and we go deep in all of those different areas. And that's for us what has allowed us to kind of continue to grow and lean in on Priceless, which has been our consistent campaign for 25 plus years.
It's awesome. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you so much, Allie,
Thank
for all the
you.
information. This is awesome.